And for everybody who like to talk to your man, Chazz Ellis, want to go back and forth, we're going to talk about all kind of stuff today or tonight, depending on where you live, where you're from. So we're going to start it out with the shout outs. If you own, let your man's Chazz Ellis know. Also, if you have missed any of my live streams, make sure you sign up on patreon.com so that you can check those out and see some of the things that I talked about. Y'all good in here? I see y'all piling in right now, so we'll do the shout outs here in just a second. We're going to go over some of the topics that I'm going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the poll. Who pays on a first date? The man, the woman, or should they go Dutch? We're also going to talk about, would you date somebody who has 5 children? 5 chillins. The results may surprise you. We're going to talk about the news today. Dr. Dre cutting off his daughter, who is 38 years old, and how people feel about it. We're going to talk about Will Smith's book sales. For some of y'all who didn't know that Will Smith even had a book, which I don't seem like there's too many people who don't know about it. But we're going to talk about Will Smith's book sales. Also going to talk about 3 ways to approach a guy and surviving cuffing season. Cuffing season, for some of y'all who don't know, is the time around winter, which is usually, depending on where you live, obviously, from September to around May, when people are most likely to want to be in relationships. Obviously, depending on where you live, you know, the time may be longer or shorter. If you're living in Cleveland, Ohio, then the time is probably going to be a little longer. If you're living in Miami, quite a bit shorter, right? But still, cuffing season does exist, and it does matter. So I'm going to do the shout outs first. If you are in here, tell me who you are. Tell me where you're from. If you're new, let me know if it's your first time. We'll be gentle. Okay, so let's see what we got. I got to put my glasses on for this because, as you know, I'm nearsighted and I have astigmatism. Whack. You know what? But I'm not going to be ashamed. I'm not going to let that hurt me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep on keeping on. All right, so we got Lucy Lou in the building. We got Valencia Gillespie, first time. That's what's up. Let us know where you're from also, especially if it's your first time. We got Tendrilla Tube. I mess your name up all the time because I'm not really... Look, I'm probably going to mess your name up. I'm probably going to mess it up. But I'm going to do my best. I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. Okay, so Tondrilla's from Houston. We got people coming in on some of the polls already. That's cool. If you want to answer the poll while you're in here, if you heard it, let's see. See, we got Kara Harper, we got Angela Brown, we got Kay Maxwell. Who else? I might have missed you. I'm going to come back to people and do some shout outs again. So if I miss you, keep talking. Keep speaking up. Keep speaking your mind. Let's get in this comment section a little bit as we start out. Okay, we're going to do the polls first today. Yeah, we'll do the polls first. The poll was, who pays on the first date? Is it the man, the woman, or do they go Dutch? So if you're in here right now, you know, just voice your opinion. I'll give y'all a little second to do that. Also, if you have missed any of the lives, make sure you sign up with me on Patreon. You can get all of the lives that you've missed. They are available on Patreon. Also, I have great deals on Patreon where I'm giving you all kind of discounts on my premium content. I'm giving all kinds. I'm actually about to be giving out free premium content. People who signed up on Patreon, you didn't even know that. free premium content coming soon from your man's Chazz Ellis. That's because I love you. Let's see. Let's see what we got here as far as the poll goes. We'll keep an eye on the poll. Okay, Lucy is from Motown. That's Detroit, Michigan. Okay, let's see. There's somebody said the woman should pay, but I always go Dutch. All right, so this was the result of the poll. Who pays on the first date? This was the result of the poll on my community page. If you want to get on these polls before they come out on the live, you can get on the community and you'll see where some of the polls come from. Who pays on the first date? 82% said the man. Wasn't shocked by that. 3% said the woman, and 15% said go Dutch. So that was that. Now I'm gonna give my opinion on this situation because a lot of times y'all ask me for that. If I don't give it, y'all ask me for it anyway. So I'm not really hard line on anything. If it's me taking somebody out on a date, then I'm gonna pay. But if you're a hard line on something like that, so if you're like the man pays 100%, well, if somebody asks you something like who washes the dishes, who's supposed to cook the dinner, who's supposed to do the womanly tasks, and you're saying both of us or he need to do that, that might be a reason for some of your struggles. I'm gonna be real with you. You can't be on the fence. You got to decide what you want to be. You can't just say, well, I'm feminine when it suits me, but when it doesn't, then I'm gonna change up and decide not to do any of the things that would be a typical woman's responsibility. So I have no problem with people who said they think the man should pay, but it's like, what type of relationship are you trying to be in? You know, if you were trying to be in a traditional relationship, then that makes sense. If you don't want to be in a traditional relationship, then you just can't benefit from some of the traditions because it's not going to work out. You're not going to get anybody who really wants to do that, who also has options. You know, some of you struggle to get people who have options and you might wonder why. So, you know, just think about that when you say, hey, I don't want to pay for dates. You know, relationships aren't about just getting what you want and not doing the things you don't want to do. Okay, I see you from Akron. What? I was born in Canton, so you know where that is. I'm like right across the street from you. Okay, so let's see. We're going to go. We're going to go with some of the other ones. Let's see what we got here. We're going to see what we got as far as the paying thing. Okay, if I'm asked out, I fully expect the man to pay. If he told me I had to pay, I would pay my way and then block him respectfully. I hate feeling like I'm using people. Okay. Let's see. Certain women should pay, not the man. Okay. Okay, I always offer to pay for something. 77 cents. Okay, yeah. So we got a lot of people who are talking about women not paying and the man paying. And they're giving their reasons. Look, like I said, as long as you're consistent, you're good. I feel like whoever asked the person out should pay. That's why I say if I ask you out, then I'm going to pay. If you were to ask me out, then I would expect you to pay. Now, if I asked you to pay and you blocked me, I wouldn't care. But I have options. I'm just being real. People with options don't really care that much if they get blocked because of doing something that they wanted to do. Which you probably, if you got options, you don't care to block the person. So, hey, win-win. But if you're going to ask somebody out, I'll just tell you this: what man, woman, whatever the case is, if you're gonna ask somebody out, you should pay. Because when you ask somebody out and you don't pay, you send mixed messages. You didn't think that the person was gonna ask you out, so you decided to ask them out. That looks desperate. If you don't pay, you look desperate and you look like a bum. Now, if you ask somebody out and you pay and all that kind of stuff, it shows a certain level of confidence. When you don't pay, after you ask somebody out, whether you're a man, this is for the guys that's watching too. If you're a man, you ask somebody out, or a woman, and you don't pay, you look like a bum. You look like you're trying to get a free meal out of somebody, which is something that a bum would do. Okay, the next one was, would you date someone who has 5 children? I'll give you guys a second to go into that one a little bit. Would you date somebody who has 5 children? That's the poll. I just started while he was like, I didn't talk about the 80-20 rule made by women. I've actually got some of the things that you guys put in here last night or last time. So we'll talk a little bit. We'll try to get into a little bit of the 80-20 rule. I think I'll be on here long enough. Okay. We're going to talk about, like I said, would you date somebody who has 5 kids? Definitely, not in a million years, or if I was really desperate. Those were the 3 answers there. So would you date somebody who has 5 kids? All right, the poll for paying on the first date went about the same here as it did on the community. All right, I hear y'all. You got people like, I can't see the poll. I can't see the poll. It's coming. Dang. The poll is coming. It's on now. Somebody already voted. They said not in a million years. We'll see how it goes, though. All right, I'm going to get into some of the news as we're going through the poll right there. Dr. Dre cuts off his 38-year-old daughter. Dr. Dre cuts off his 38-year-old daughter. She's 38. She got 4 kids. She's struggling out here in these streets. Apparently, she's about to lose her car that it said she was paying like $1,100 a month for. I'm like, why would you get a car that's $1,100 a month if you don't even have a place to stay? Because apparently she doesn't have a place to stay. She out here struggling. A lot of people are mad at Dr. Dre because he's no longer helping her. Now, he was helping her for quite some time, and he cut her off like totally, I guess, like last year. They seem to have an estranged relationship. It's kind of seems to be strained, I should say. She's his estranged daughter, and it seems to be a strained relationship. So a lot of people were upset at Dr. Dre because they're like, oh, it couldn't be me if that was my kid. I hate when people say stuff like that. It wouldn't be me if that was my kid. Yeah, but do you have a bad relationship with your kid? Is your kid a 38-year-old person who doesn't have the ability to support themselves, or 4 children? And I'm just going to take it outside of just the realm of parenthood, because I know a lot of people project their issues that they have with other people onto celebrities, but I'm going to take it out of the realm of parenthood. It's one of those things where people will tell you what you should do with a relationship, a friendship, a family member, without knowing all the hills and valleys that you might have been through with that person. They might be telling you, oh, well, You should never leave your daughter hanging no matter how old she is. I would never do that. Or they might even say you should never leave your family member hanging no matter what the situation is. But they don't know what you've been through. You might have a family member that's a crackhead and people are like, how you going to just leave your brother out there? Well, your crackhead brother might have broken your house before, might have stole your identity, might have got warrants in your name. I've seen this before. I used to be a police officer and I used to see all kind of stuff where family members would steal their family member's identity. This is real. This happens all the time. You got to be careful about that. Family members would break into family members' houses and rob them. This happens all the time, as a matter of fact. So you don't know what's going on in somebody's family situation to say, oh, here's what I would never do. People always like to use an opportunity to stick their chest out and beat it and go, I would never leave my daughter or my son hanging because I'm such a good parent, I'm such a good father, I'm such a good mother. But what you have to realize is that's your kid, and that's the relationship you have with your child. There are plenty of extenuating circumstances that cause people not to have those kind of relationships with their family members, period. With their father, with their mother, with their grandma, with their aunts. People could tell you horror stories about people and you might go, oh, well, okay, maybe if it was that. They're like, I would never leave my mom hanging. Well, my mom used to beat me back when I was young and she did, okay. I didn't know all that. I'm sorry. I didn't know that your mom was on that type of, we don't know. So, and especially, I'm going to say this. When you're 38 years old, get a job. You got to get a job. You can't be putting your dad on blast because he's not giving you money. Get a job. Because what would you do if your dad wasn't famous? What would you do if your dad wasn't rich? Because if your dad wasn't rich, he wouldn't be able to support you financially. He wouldn't be able to support you and your 4 kids. Like, what would you do if your dad worked a regular 9-to-5 job? How would he support a 38-year-old? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand. So what your expectation seems a little off. Let's see what some of y'all had to say about it in the comments section. Oh, make sure y'all support the chat. If y'all want to keep it going, y'all want to keep me talking about a lot of these different things, be an active participant in your own rescue. Also support the things that you like and care about. Make sure you hit me with some of the stickers and the super chats and just support the chat. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you show me some love. Send me some stickers. All right, let's see what's up. We're going to get to the poll here in a second. Okay, Lucy and Tondrella, they're like, yeah, you 38, basically. I'm for him, 38, damn, yeah. Yeah, for me it was the 38. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like to be an ageist, but for me it was the 38. The 38 got me. Because it's like, you're 38 years old. That's damn near 40, bro. You might well say 40, really. You're 38. When are you going to get it together? What more can this man do for you? Just the fact, like, somebody who had any hustle in them, just the fact that they were Dr. Dre's kid would have been enough to give them, I don't care if he never even took care of you. I don't care. Just the fact that that was your dad would be enough for somebody with some hustle. Thank you, Tondrella. So I don't know. The 38 was, that kind of threw me. I'm like, you're 38. Get your life together. People think that giving somebody money is just going to solve their problems. But you got to think, if it was that simple, then why do lottery winners go broke right after they win? If it was that simple, you got to solve the core problems. And a lot of times that's on the individual, man. The core problem is on the individual a lot of time. Okay, let's see what the poll is looking like right now. For would you date someone with 5 children? Okay, so hold on, let me try to grab the poll here. All right. So 6% said definitely. 67% said Not in a million years. And 28% said if I was desperate. Hey, so that's where we are. Some of y'all ask me what I think about that. I'm going to be real with you. I don't see myself dating somebody with 5 kids. It's not a personal thing. It's just simply, that's a lot of personalities. And I don't want to financially support that many people. I just don't want to support that many people. Now, if they were really, really rich and they were willing to support me and the kids, I might change my mind. I don't know. I don't know. If they was balling like that, I might change my mind. But I'm not gonna sit up here and support somebody's. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna sit around and support somebody's 5 kids. That's a lot of kids, man. Even if you're gonna work and stuff like that, it's a lot of kids. But I'll say this too. If you think like that, then you can't get mad if somebody says they wouldn't date somebody with 1 kid and you have a child. If you got a child, if you got 2 children, if you got 3 children, whatever your number is, and somebody says I would never date somebody with kids, you can't take it personally if you wouldn't date somebody with 5 kids. Because their number may just be different from yours. Everybody doesn't have to fall in line with what you want. So you got to understand that. Hey, let's keep supporting the chat, man. Send me some stickers. Send some super chats. Show some love to the chat for me to keep it going, man. Show that love now. Don't act like that. Don't be a hater. All right, let's see what we got on the poll. Okay, Valencia says, a hard no. I have no kids, so I'd prefer if he didn't have kids either. People with kids should date other people with kids. Well, I was with you on the first part. Hey, if that's what you want to do, then cool. But I think people can, whatever they want to do, they can do. If people want to have no kids, because some people can't even have kids. We got to think about that too. And they want children but can't have children. So if you don't want to date people with kids, I totally understand that though. Totally understand that. I don't care if you have kids and don't want to date people with kids. Everybody has a right to want what they want. The only thing is don't get mad at other people when they make their preferences. So another person might be like, well, I don't want to date somebody of this age. I don't want to date somebody in this tax bracket. I don't want to date somebody this tall. I don't want to date somebody who is light, dark. I don't want to date somebody who is skinny. I don't want to date somebody who is fat, whatever. I think we just got to accept other people's preferences as we have our own. Lucy's like, no for the kids. Oh, hell no. Okay, here goes somebody. I respect this, Tandrilla. She says, I don't know. I picked if I was really desperate, but I'd have to be thirsty. Look, I totally respect that because a lot of people, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. Most of this is going to be unless I was really desperate. Because at the end of the day, the choices you make are based on the choices that you have. That's why I always preface everything. I say it's a no for me unless. So I should have put what you said, because if I was really desperate and I'm down bad and they got 5 kids, I'm probably with it. If I'm down bad, but it had to be a situation where I was down bad and they could support their kids, because otherwise I'm not going to let somebody make my bad situation worse. Okay, 69 Fabulosity says, nope, ain't nobody got time for a broke future. Okay, I got that. That's the rapper Future for some of y'all. Hey, like I said, if the person is broke, the answer for me is a hard no. If it was like the female version of Future, the answer for me is yes. Yes. If they got 6 kids and they got millions and millions of dollars, yes. I'm trying to upgrade my lifestyle. I'm not in the Future tax bracket. Future balling out. I'm gonna be real with you. Look, y'all can say what y'all will about me. That's fine. But I want to upgrade my lifestyle. I'll babysit some kids for some M's. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to get a nanny and everything anyway. So, yeah, for some M's, psh. Of course. For some M's? Come on now. Let's amend that. If it was some millions involved, if it was a person that had millions of dollars, I want to see how many people gonna keep it real. If a person had millions of dollars, would you date the person with 5 kids? They got millions. Okay, this person said, I'm into money, so if I am out of options, or the man is a millionaire with 5 kids, okay, I might date him temporarily. Yeah, but if you date him temporarily, how you gonna get the money? See, I think I see where you coming from, but I don't know if you thought it through all the way, because if you marry the dude, then you got a good chance. I'm just throwing it out there. Then you got a good chance of maybe getting, you may not get half, but you might get a good chunk. I don't know what your financial situation is looking like, but if you're talking about a multi-millionaire, say you can get $1 or $2 million, bro. To me, it's worth it. Everybody's different. To me, it's worth it. All right, y'all hit me with some stickers and some super chats. We're going to get to questions here in a little while. Let me get into more of the news. Let me finish this news up. Okay, Will Smith has sold over 14 million pre-sold copies of his book. I think some of that's due to the entanglement and all the stuff that happened with Jada. I'm gonna keep it real. I think Will Smith is the king of making lemonade out of lemons. I'm gonna be real with you, man, because a lot of people would have folded on that. A lot of people, maybe me, I probably would have went underground. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be real. If what has happened to Will Smith over the last, what has been like a year, if what had happened to Will Smith happened to me publicly like that, I probably would have went underground for a minute. I'm gonna be real with you. Y'all wouldn't hear from me. I probably wouldn't be coming out with a book because I wouldn't want to go on a book tour. Will took it like a champ. He on a book tour. He making it look like he did it on purpose. Maybe he did, but I wouldn't even do that on purpose. So even if he did, I wouldn't do that on purpose, to keep it real with you. So I gotta give Will some props. To put the book out was a smart idea because obviously it's hot right now. Everybody want to know what he got in the book. I bought the book. I haven't read it yet, but I bought the book. I bought the book today, actually. No, last night. So I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'll get back to you guys and do a book review on that. But hey, striking while the iron is hot. I'm giving him a lot of credit for that. Okay, we're about to go into approaching guys, and we're going to talk a little bit about cuffing season. First thing I need y'all to do is support the chat. Send me some stickers. Show me some love before I even get into this stuff. All right? Dead ass, bro. Dead ass. Let's see what we got here. Somebody said, I'll try my best to feed. Thank you, Tondrilla. Somebody said, I'll try my best to feed and entertain those kids. That's such. I feel you. Okay. I want to see what everybody's saying about this. Okay, let's see. She said, I try my best to feed and entertain them. Valencia said, if it's millions involved, a hard maybe. He's like, I feel you if it's money, but if he's a broke version of Future, I'll pass. Okay, some of y'all are talking about Will Smith on here. Will used to money, so he got to keep it flowing. That's true. Hey, I got to keep it flowing even more than Will, though, because Will got a whole lot of money in surplus. Will can stop doing stuff today. He going to be just fine. I'm not in that boat. I can't be like, yo, I ain't doing nothing else for the rest of my life and still be good. I'll be able to stay with one of y'all. Keep it real. We're going to capitalize no matter what. That's true. Okay, that's what Mariah said. What's happening? There's some people I'm going to give y'all shout outs. Show me love also on the stickers. Hit me with the super chats. Show me love now. Okay, we got Cali Red Glam in the building. 69 Fabulosity in the building. Let's see, who else? Mariah, what's up? Wahid Ali, what's up? You've been here for a minute without getting a shout out, but I just started doing them again. So I think that's all of the new people that came through that have spoken up. Yeah, I mean, I totally get it, bro. Will does his thing. Okay, because Will Smith, this entanglement is something he's accepted and is okay with. He's okay with his truth and knows he can make more because people stop talking about you. That's when you're no longer relevant. Yeah, okay, so she was like, Will has accepted it. I don't know if he's accepted it. I don't know if he's okay with it. I can't speak for Will because I don't know Will personally. So I can't say that he's okay with it. He didn't look okay on the red tabletop. I don't know. But clearly he's been able to work through it enough to make it work for him. And at the end of the day, that's all we can ask out of life. Bad things happen. I'm sure he probably didn't want the story to come out the way it did. Maybe he did. But it didn't look like he did. It didn't look like he wanted that story to come out the way he did. I saw the red tabletop. The dude looked pretty broken. And I take it, all I can do is go by what we can see. I'm not going to try to go conspiracy theories. Dude looked pretty broken. Looked like he was going through it. He seems to have bounced back. Got on his money. Hey, that's all you can really do in life, man. And I think this should be a lesson to everybody. If you take a loss or something bad happens to you or you get publicly humiliated, you can choose to go into hiding, which is what I probably would have done. You could choose to go into hiding. You could cry about it, or you could bounce back like Will did. Now, if something like that happened, I'd be way more likely to go back and face it more head on. Sometimes we watch other people. The Blue Jay says he's losing money due to his damaged image. It's not a win. Well, you don't know that. First of all, you have no way of knowing that. See, I'm a person that I don't like when we just make up stuff based on what we feel is going on. You don't know if that man is losing money. We do know that his book pre-sold 14 million copies. We do know that. So that's not losing money. He's got a movie that's coming out right now. So we don't know how that movie is going to do. So we don't know, even because his image is damaged to some people. To me, I would even say, yeah, kind of damaged his image to me. But that's me. That may be you. But that doesn't mean that that's damaged his image across the board. And some people have an ability to pivot. Some people have one image that they have, and that's all they can do is just live in that one lane. Some people, whenever something happens, they pivot and they make something new out of it. And maybe that's what Will's going to do. Your image only take you so far. You only lose money when you don't make money off of whatever happened. You only lose money if you can't do something to replace whatever it is you lost. Movies aren't doing as well right now, for the most part. Some movies are doing really well, but movies across the board are not doing as well right now as they were even a year or so ago before the whole pandemic thing happened. So Will's doing books. Books might hit a little harder. Motivational speeches might hit a little harder. His Instagram and everything is still popping. That's where you're going to make a lot of your money at right now. So I don't know. He said, I think he says, I think he'd rather keep it private. However, on his Oprah Winfrey interview, he admits he chose to be in this marriage. Well, of course he chose to be in this marriage. And they both had affairs. That could be very true. I mean, I'm sure that might be the case. But he said he's saying that after the fact. I'm talking about his initial reaction on the red table. Whatever he does after that, I mean, now, I would be able to contrive a good story that makes me sound cooler if you give me a few months. His initial reaction, he didn't look okay with it. I'm going to go by that because he's had a lot of time to be able to get himself together. So I don't know if he was okay with it at the time. He wasn't saying that at the time. What's up, Rhonda? Okay. Millions mean nothing. Doesn't mean they're sharing it with you. This is a long shot. A judge can leave you empty-handed. Well, I mean, why would you get in a relationship with somebody who wasn't sharing the millions with you? And that's not really a long shot because it depends on what your paperwork says. A judge could leave you empty-handed, sure, but I mean, a judge could come along and somebody could sue you and take all your money right now. I mean, everything has a risk to reward. If you're with somebody who has millions of dollars, though, I think that not sharing it with you is they're either sharing the money with you or they're not. So you would know that on the front end of the relationship if they're going to share the money with you. So I don't think that I don't know about that one. That's not really that valid. As far as whether or not the judge would give you a certain amount of money, depends on what you have. You're going to get something in a divorce. A judge leaving you with nothing does not happen very often. If you're with somebody who has a large amount of money, unless you've done something and it's a fault divorce, you're going to be left with something as long as you can hang in there. So you're going to get something. Very rarely does a person get absolutely nothing out of a multi-million-dollar relationship. Because even just the settlement would make more sense. If you were like, yo, I'm suing for a divorce, the person giving you a couple dollars just to avoid legal fees. For most people, if it's a multi-millionaire you're dealing with, the little couple dollars that they would give you would be more than you would be able to make in that amount of time. You know, it's like if you break up with somebody who's worth $100 million and they say, well, I'll give you $500,000 after you've been married for a year. Your ass wasn't about to make $500,000 in a year. I mean, I'm sure some people can say, yeah, that's what I'm getting. I'm clearing that tax-free in a year. No, you're not. Stop it. Because that's $1 million right there. If you're clearing $500,000, because that's going to be tax-free. If you're clearing that money in a year, then that's going to be, then that'd be like you making $1 million a year. Now, it ain't too many people making that. Well, you're assuming, Rika said, 5 kids dating you is a red flag. I can't stand men who have seeds all over the place. Well, you're assuming that the kids are all by different people. I mean, I guess, you take from it what you bring to it. So I don't know if that's the situation you've dealt with more often, or you see more often. But that could be the case also. We didn't say. But yeah, I can see how that could definitely be a red flag. If somebody has 5 kids by one person or 5 people, or whatever the case may be. What's up, in love? What's up, Aisha? Long time. I was on here the other week, but I haven't been back for a while. All right, before I get into cuffing season and some of this other stuff, y'all support the chat. Show love to the chat, all right? Also, make sure you sign up with me on Patreon if you've missed some of these. If you've missed some of the lives that I've done in the past and you want to see what was going on. I talked about a lot of cool stuff. Make sure you sign up with me on Patreon. The link is in the chat box. It'll come back again. So make sure you go ahead and sign up for that. Also, I'm going to be doing sales and free giveaways for some of the premium content that you guys love. All right, we're going to talk about that once I'm going to go into some of these things I wanted to talk about once we get a couple of... Y'all gonna have to hit the stickers. Y'all got to show some love real quick for me to keep that going. Also, make sure you like. Everybody who's in the chat should be liking. It takes you nothing to hit the like button. So if you're in the chat, make sure all the likes come along. Hit that like button. Thank you, Tondrilla. Somebody else. Y'all got to send some stickers too. We got to be not just one person. Don't just lean on one person. Everybody got to show love. Uh, 69 Fabulosity said, I couldn't just deal with multiple baby mamas and a bunch of kids. I ain't got time for the female version of daddy daycare. I get that. Once again, if they got M's, I'm looking at it differently. If they got millions, I'm looking at it differently. And everybody's looking at it differently. You know, we get on the internet and all this kind of stuff. We're going to pretend like we're going to just have these solid rules. Stop it. I don't think, I'm going to be 100% real. If I asked y'all how many of y'all would date Future and it's not 80-20, cap. I mean, yeah, when you don't really have an opportunity to date somebody, of course you're going to be like, I wouldn't date this person. I wouldn't want to be with this person. Of course you're going to say that because you're just thinking about the idea of that person. You're not sitting there over here with an opportunity to be on a private jet. You're not sitting over here with an opportunity like the person didn't offer you a Lambo. You know, if the person offered you a Lambo, that's a totally different thing. If a person offer you, you know what I mean? Like, it's like people like, oh, if somebody offered me this much money, I would turn it down. Stop it. If a person offered me 10 million, I would turn it down. I mean, that's because nobody offered you 10 million. That's because somebody offered you 10 million. It's easy to say what you would do. That's like me saying, yo, if I was walking down the street and prime Mike Tyson stepped on my foot, I would smack the shit out of him. You see how easy that was for me to say? I wouldn't do that. Mike smacked me in the face. Or if Mike stepped on my shoe, I would pretend like he didn't. And that's what almost every single person in the world would do. And it's not even like it's not like I'm not a person who can fight. I mean, anybody who knows my personal background, it's not like I'm just like don't have any ability to fight. It's because I have trained all my life. I know the fact that in real life, a fight don't go the way you might think it was going to go. You hit the guy, he just falls down and all that kind of crap. Thank you, Dana. And that's not how it goes. So I'm just saying, if a person got bread like that and you really got opportunity to get some of it, the whole ball game changes. Thank you and love. Appreciate y'all showing love to the chat. That's what's up. She said, you're right. If he has a bag, of course, but you shouldn't take him seriously. Pull a Lori Harvey and peace out after you get what you want. Hey, I respect that. Shoot. But don't be mad when people do that to you. I respect that, but don't be mad if people do that to you. Don't be mad if you make songs about your ass. That's all I'm saying. I get it. That's a plan. She said, do a Lori Harvey, get what you want out of the situation, and then peace out. I have no problem with that. See, I have no problem with that. All I'm saying is but don't get mad if they make a song about you. Don't get mad if somebody does that to you a little bit later. Because the stuff that I might do, I'm not mad if somebody does the same thing. If somebody oh, you got some money and I'm going to get with you because you got money. If I decide to get with you and you decide to try to get some money, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Because I'm like, hey, I'm trying to upgrade my lifestyle. So how would I be mad at somebody trying to upgrade their lifestyle? That doesn't upset me or bother me. If I dealt with somebody, got what I wanted out of the situation, and then they wrote a little song about me and said whatever they wanted to say, I wouldn't be mad. You know what I mean? That's how I am as a person. I'm not about to be mad. So, as long as keeping it real, you're not making up stuff about me, lying on me. That's not acceptable. That's not cool. Tandrella said, I get an ego boost if they made a song about me bashing me or otherwise. I agree. See, I agree with that. If you make a song about me, bashing me, I'm like, especially if you famous and the song about to be popping, I'm cool with it. Make a song about me, put it out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to be on everything. To say I don't want him and all this, he belongs to the streets. I'm cool with it. Rika says, I notice men don't like being used more than women. That's just from your perspective. I mean, you probably deal with men most of the time. Oh, don't mind being used? I mean, people, that's not true either. You're just going from your perspective. You're just going from your perspective. It depends on what they're being used for. Women, I mean, it depends on what they're being used for. Nobody likes to be used and not get anything in return. That's the reality. If you use a guy and don't give him what he expected in return, that's being used. If you sleep with me and you feel like, oh, I used you for sex, then I might not feel used. So, Of course, I wouldn't mind that. If you use me for money and you didn't sleep with me or you didn't deal with me on any other level, then I might feel some type of way. It's all when anybody feels used, they're gonna feel equally upset. But it's just people feel used in different ways. So, it just depends on the situation. But I think if you're future and you got like 6 baby mamas, hey, you got to expect anytime you deal with a woman, she going to probably try to get some bread and be out. I'm just being real. I'm not saying you deserve that because you have 6 baby mamas, because I'm not here to judge you and your situation. I don't even know how you arrived at that. I've not walked a mile in your shoes. But I will say this. If you're in a situation like that, you got to expect for some people to be a little skeptical of you. It's like I was watching the thing with Brittany Renner, the chick that got PJ Washington, they got pregnant by the ball player PJ Washington. I talked about it before. I don't know, y'all might have missed it. But anyway, she's a chick that be on social media. She's on social media talking about how stupid basketball players are and how you could just get pregnant by one of them and get money. But now she's mad because people are calling her a hoe. And people are calling her a gold digger and saying she trapped PJ Washington. My thing is, what did you expect people to say? That's what you put out there. That's what people think of you. If you future, you talk about having sex with people's wives or whatever in some Gucci flip-flops. You talking about, belonging to the streets. You talking about all the stuff that you say. You can't be mad when people look at you as just a come up. That's the thing. Like, what do you expect when you get on the internet and you start saying certain things, or you get on a public forum and you say certain things? That's how people see you. You can't get mad because people see you the way you presented yourself. And now you want to change it up, or you want to revise history and make it what you want it to be. Future he get out there and just do his thing, and I ain't never heard him complain. So, I ain't never heard him really complain. I mean, he makes songs about people, but you're a rapper. That's what you're supposed to do, is diss people, right? It's kind of what they do. So I can't get mad at him for that. All right, we're gonna go into, let's get it up to 20, and then we'll go into the different ways to approach guys, and we'll talk about surviving cuffing season. So let's show some more love to the chat. And see where we can go from there. Also, if you have missed any of these live streams and you want to check them out, make sure you sign up with me on Patreon. Also, I'm going to be doing plenty of giveaways. There are checklists on there to help you do some of the things that you're trying to accomplish in life. Also, I have plenty of discounts on there too. And for the first, we'll do the first 5 people to sign up. I'm going to give you a 50% off consultation. So there you go. Let's hit this chat real quick. Send me some stickers. Let's do some super chats. Let's do it. Show real love. Real love. No. That's what's up. Krista, what's up? You good? You came in. Hey, look, you showed up, but you might have been a little late, but you was right on time. You feel what I'm saying? You showed up in style, if you will. All right, so we're going to go into 3 ways to approach guys. Now, I know some of y'all don't want to approach guys at all. But for the people who have asked me about this, and it's not just one person, there's been multiple people who've asked me about this over the years. So, if you want to approach guys, especially while cuffing season is going on, where you got to get ahead on cuffing season, if you want to approach guys, one of the ways is by proxy. This is basically having a friend or somebody you're cool with. You know, it could be a coworker, it could be a family member, it could be one of their friends or a mutual friend. Having this person basically approach that guy for you or on your behalf. If you're going to do it, you want to pick somebody who's tactful. You want to pick somebody who is a good representative of you. So if you're going to have one of your friends kind of holler at somebody for you, don't pick somebody who's going to make you look bad. Don't pick somebody who's not going to be your best foot forward. Don't pick somebody who's going to say something ignorant or do something ignorant or try to put you on blast. Also, don't pick somebody who possibly likes you. This is often a mistake where people will get opposite sex friend to approach somebody for them and the person actually likes them. Try to make sure you don't pick somebody who likes the person that you're trying to talk to, because they'll often sabotage you. You know, if they like you or they like the person you're trying to talk to, it is highly likely that they will try to sabotage you. So that's something that you want to make sure you focus on. Picking somebody who is a good representation of you. Picking somebody who is who doesn't like them, and somebody who doesn't like you. Those are the biggest things you want to make sure you do. It's somebody who's not going to try to put you on blast. Basically, you want to get somebody who's professional. They don't have to be a professional, but you want to get somebody who is professional just in the way they carry themselves and the way they do things. The next one you want to use is a situational. And basically the situational approach is put yourself in a situation where you guys can mutually connect with one another. So if you got somebody that you like, say it's somebody that you work with, which I'm gonna say somebody you work with is not always the best move. Let's not use somebody you work with. Somebody you know from the gym. You can put yourself in a situation by joining some of the classes that they're a part of. You can put yourself in a situation by going on machines next to them. You can ask for advice. These are things that you can do that are an approach that don't make it seem like, you know, you're thirsty or you're going right at them or any of those type of things. This works a lot of times because if you have something in common with the person, which you should have something in common, otherwise what are you guys going to talk about when you get together? If you have something in common with the person, then you can use the situational approach to be able to make a connection and really talk about some of the things that you guys have in common. So whatever it is you have in common, you use that to make a connection. Then you just talk to them and turn it into a romantic relationship. The next thing is the direct approach. You know, I'm going to be real with you. I don't really often recommend this, but sometimes it is necessary. If you're going to use the direct approach, make sure you get some cues to make sure this person is interested in you. Eye contact, initiation of some level of conversation, to where you're almost all the way there other than them asking you out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be pretty close to all the way there other than them asking you out. And if you're in a situation where you feel like you got to make that direct approach, then you can go ahead and ask them out there. But I wouldn't do it unless I was pretty much right there, till I was like, you know, it wasn't even a problem to where I had it. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, if you're gonna ask the person out, then you need to make sure that they really are feeling you. At least enough. You see what I'm saying? At least enough to where they're willing to talk to you. You guys have gone back and forth enough to where you can say, if I ask this person out, or if I do step over that one little that one extra piece of it, then I'm there. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna work out. All right, let's see what you guys think about this. Let's go into the comments a little bit more. Wahid, give me a little bit more on what you want to know about the 80-20 rule, and we'll cover that. Because you asked about that in the last one. I had that written down, but I didn't know exactly if you meant 80-20 as in relationships that are already existing, or what exactly you meant. So give me a little bit more on the question, and I'll go into it. Okay, she says, like, I can't give out choosing signals. Okay, Tandrella, if you want to give out choosing signals, and that's you can even use that like in a direct approach or situational. If you're in a situation with a person and you want to give out choosing signals, some of the choosing signals are try to smile. I know people are like, don't tell us to smile. Look, if you want people to connect with you, you have to give them reason to want to connect. You don't have to smile for your daily life if that's not what you want to do. But you can't expect people to approach you when you don't seem approachable. So smile. Find something to smile about. Also, proximity. If you want to give a person the idea that you're interested in them, you need to get in close proximity. Remember when I was talking about the situationals where they might be on one machine and then you get on a machine next to them? That's something to do. Consistently get in close proximity to the person. You can do that without being weird. You can get in close proximity to somebody without being weird. So try that. Get in close proximity and keep closing the distance. And when they talk to you, talk back. Like actually keep the conversation going. If the person says, hey, how much you be lifting on that machine? Dang, you got some strong legs. If they say something like that, this is your opportunity to talk back. Oh, I used to run track in high school. This type of thing. This shows interest. You got to remember, you're expecting somebody else to make a relationship out of thin air. So you could at least reciprocate when they try to do that. So if they say something to you, talk back, keep the conversation going. Those are things that just try to do. Proximity, smile, talk back. And then once you get kind of to know the person and make a good enough connection, be physical. This is especially for women. You can get away with this a little bit more. It don't got to be physical like, oh, I'm touching you, I'm grabbing your inner thigh. I'm saying, we might touch a shoulder or something like that. Just to let a person know, hey, I'm interested enough that I will make physical connection. So that's the way to show choosing signals. All money ain't good money. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you do, what you decide. Everything has to be in your own ethics, but what may be bad money to you may be good money to somebody else. And the mindsets are selfish. They're not giving money away. I mean, I don't know. That one seems. You can't really say what everybody's going to do with their money. Rich people give money away all the time. If you ever spend any time around rich people, then all the rich people I've ever spent time around in my life, which have been quite a few, they all give money away. I don't care what race they are. Not every single one, but all the ones that I know give money away in some form or fashion. All the famous rich people give money away. They give millions and billions away. Why not just go up to them and talk yourself? The worst they can say is no, and then just have a talk with them much, uh, and then you just don't have to talk to them much anymore. Well, I mean, yeah, of course you can go up and talk to them, but you can use other methods too. This is something you guys got to understand. Dating is like sports, like business, like anything else. You have multiple strategies that you use to accomplish a goal. People are always on this. Whenever it's dating, it's like you use it, you view it as something that doesn't have strategy to it, and then wonder why so many people are not successful at it. If you don't use different strategies, how are you going to be successful? That's like, well, why don't you just drive to the basket and shoot a layup? Because they got shot blockers in there, and I can't get a layup off. So that means I might have to get a pick. I might have to shoot from the outside. I'm going to have to do different things to be successful. We all know that if I was playing basketball. We all know you can't run the same play in football. We all know you can't just throw the same punch in boxing. Pretty much everybody knows that in business, you have to try different strategies to be successful. You can't just be like, well, why don't you just walk up to the person and say, hey, you want to buy this? You're not a very good salesman. Your ass gonna get fired. Nah, you're gonna have to use different strategies to be successful. That's just how it goes. And you have to use strategies that go with your personality. I mean, that's your personal opinion on the guy. Rhonda says, Future's money doesn't make him attractive. His actions say he's loose and has no control over his man part. That's to you. You said, which I guess that's what you're saying is to you, but I'm speaking in general because I don't know you. So as far as Future's money does make him attractive to a ridiculous amount of people. So as an overall blanket statement, that's untrue. Future's money does make him attractive to a ridiculous amount of people. Now, as far as what his actions say about him, I don't know him personally, so I can't really say. I can only say what, I guess he has 6 baby mamas now. I don't know if he's out of control, if he did that on purpose. I can't say. What's your opinion on alpha male strategies? I mean, I think that some of y'all may not know the guy. The dude's name is AMS. He gives like a lot of male advice. I mean, hey, I think he's got some good points. He's speaking from his own personal experiences in a lot of cases, and also the experiences of people that he's worked with and coached. You know, I don't really have a problem with the information that he gives out. I don't think anybody's 100% right or 100% wrong. I think you just got to pick what works for you. You know, and I think some of the stuff that he says does work. A lot of it does work. But it depends on whether it's your thing or not. So I mean, it's hard for me to really give more of an opinion on anybody than that. What do you think about dating professors? Man, dating your professor is kind of, if it's just a professor, fine. If it's your professor or a professor at the same school, I don't know about that. I'm just gonna be real with you. I have a rule that I follow now. Everybody's different. You can do what you want to do. But for me, the rule that I follow is I don't crap where I eat. So if I go to school somewhere or work somewhere, I know that I can't just switch schools whenever I feel like it. I know that I'm probably not going to just be able to go to a different job whenever I feel like it. especially if I'm high up in the position. So for that reason, I would never deal with somebody who lives in the same neighborhood as me. Because I'm not going to sell my house. How do I get out? How do I get out of this situation? If things don't work out and they go left after a certain period of time, how do I get out? So, that's what I'd be careful about as far as dating somebody that was a professor. Oh yeah, Chandra said I agree with Rhonda. I majorly scared of catching the STD. Hey, I get it, but hey, I will say this though: anybody you deal with, you should get them tested and try to use protection. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your with your life. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life, but my advice to you was anybody you deal with, regardless of what you know about them, heard about them, or think about them, get them tested and use protection, especially initially in your relationship, even if they seem cool and all that. Okay, regarding 80-20 rule, I heard women say women need two men in their life. Okay, one for sex, another one for money. I heard this is really common between women. Okay, so he's talking about this. This is basically the way that I've heard the 80-20 rule, but different. The 80-20 rule for men or women, anybody, is going to pretty much work like this. Normally in a relationship, what people say is you're getting about 80% of what you need from your relationship. Somebody else usually comes along with the 20. That's where that whole thing came from. And some people applied it to women because they just applied it to women. So some people apply it to men also. But the 80-20 rule is basically when you're in a relationship with somebody, they're giving you about 80% of what you need. Somebody else comes along and has the 20. Now, you obviously can survive off 80, but if you get with the person that just has the 20, it ain't gonna work. Now, for some people, it's they got a man who's got money, who can support them, who gives them what they want in a relationship, and the other person comes along and maybe it is sex or some of the fun and all that kind of stuff that they're looking for. If you're dealing with a woman, and this is what I tell, because I'm not here to make people like me, I'm here to give it real advice. This is what I tell any guy. When you get in a relationship with a woman, the first thing you want to do is make sure that woman is just as willing to invest in you as you are in her. Because sometimes, and this is women, you should look at this too, but sometimes you are what a woman wants and not who a woman wants. So a lot of these women around will say, here are my rules and here are the things that I expect from a man and here's what a man needs to do for me. These are the rules that they have because that's what they want. Now, when they run into somebody who's actually who they want, pretty much all of those rules go out the window. Now, they might say that on this comment section, but as y'all know, I've been doing this for 10 years. So I have a sample size of thousands of women where you only know you and your friends unless you also do this for a living. So, that's just the reality of it. So as far as the 80-20 rule goes, if you wanted to avoid that happening to you, then you just be in a situation where you're dealing with a woman who's willing to invest in you. You're dealing with a woman who would date you even if you weren't spending money on her. Because otherwise, if the first date you go on with a woman, you spend a couple grand, she may like you, she may not. She may like to just get a couple grand. But if you go on a date, you don't really spend money. She's willing to spend money on you sometimes. She's willing to buy you gifts. That tells you that there's some real interest there. That whole applying pressure and giving money and all that, that's not going to make someone like you. You can't make someone like you. Okay, 69 Fabulosity. Rich men are very generous. However, it doesn't work out. He already has a list on women of women on deck. Yeah, that's true. I'm not going to argue with you there. Yeah, they feel they can buy them a woman. Yeah. Well, that's the truth with anybody who is. That's the truth with anybody who's desirable. Rich men are going to probably have a whole list of women on deck, but that's a good looking man going to have the same thing. The only people who need money are people who are not attractive, or people who don't have good personalities. If you need money to get a woman, it's because they don't like you. That's the reality. I mean, women will constantly say, oh, I only date a man who makes this amount of money. I was getting chicks when I was homeless. Actually, for people who know my story, I used to be homeless. I was out here struggling. I'm not sitting there saying I was a bum on the side of the street shaking a can. No. But, I've been down on my luck like a mug before. But God. I've been down on my luck before. And I didn't have any problem getting women when I was down on my luck. It wasn't like I was dealing with a shortage of women. That's why when guys will say stuff like, women only want rich guys. Women only want guys who have money. No, they don't. You don't have a good personality, most likely. You probably don't really have a good personality. You probably don't stay in shape. You probably don't have confidence. But as far as, you're right though. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say a person that's got money doesn't have women on deck, because I agree with you. But I think that's the truth with anybody who has options is going to have other women that they're going to deal with if you break up with them. The only type of man that's going to sit around crying and not get another woman when y'all break up is somebody who can't get another woman. Just going to be real with you. If you break up with a broke dude, just because he's broke doesn't mean that he doesn't have other people. It's like women who go, I was with him when he was broke. So what? You acting like you're the only one that wanted to be there. Just because somebody's broke, if that was the case, there wouldn't be so many broke dudes with kids. Like, look how many of y'all said broke future. Okay, so that means that there are plenty of broke dudes who have kids, which means broke dudes can get women. I'm just saying it from that perspective. Like, I agree with you 100%. If you're dealing with somebody like Future, whether he got 5 kids, 1 kid, 0 kids, he's going to have a list of women that were going to take your place as soon as you walk away. Period. If Will Smith and Jada broke up tomorrow, there are a list of millions of women who would try to get with Will. I got an aunt who Will is her fantasy dude. If Jada broke up with him tomorrow, my aunt would be trying to get in his DMs. Shout out, Auntie. I didn't say your name. I didn't even say your name. So I know you'd be watching this. You know what? I'm going to cut that out of the recording just in case she's not watching that live. She says if a man truly loves you, he won't move on so easily. That ain't true. I mean, that's a fantasy. That's a fantasy. It depends on if you walk away from a situation. Yeah, he may not move on and get married tomorrow. But if you walk away from a situation, a guy who has options and a guy who has confidence, he's not going to sit around and pine over you. That's not going to happen. It's unrealistic. That's that Disney stuff. If a man truly loves you, maybe you wouldn't move on as a woman if you truly loved a man. But I know women who truly love a man who will move on quickly. When people have options, they exercise those options. If you break up with a man that's got something going for him, you better get back with him the next week. Period. I don't care what he felt about you. Because his pride is going to get in the way. You are not successful as a man if you don't have pride. If you don't have pride, it almost supersedes everything else. A man who is a winner is not going to sit here and just stay on the ground for anybody. Otherwise, he would keep losing in life. Y'all got to start understanding this. The guy that y'all want, see, this is what a lot of women want. You want somebody who behaves like a loser, but also happens to be a winner and also happens to be super desirable. And that's what you think you're gonna get. If you're with a man that has a ton of options, if you're with a man that's super successful, then that means that he's gonna pick you based on the things that you're bringing to the table, the things that make him choose to be with you. But if you walk away from the situation, the man's not gonna sit around and pine over you for the rest of his life. Yeah, maybe if he's just a rich lame, but you probably don't want to be with a rich lame. Because there's people who got money who are lame, but if he's rich, good looking, got a great personality, funny, outgoing, he was able to approach you, those are qualities of a person that's going to move on. They don't stay down when things happen. That's anybody. Any successful person doesn't stay down when bad things happen. Thank you, Tandrella. This is a good comment. Were you talking about men? I was talking about men have kids who are broke. They shouldn't be bringing life into this world if they can't support it. Well, multiple people bring life into the world that they can't support. It takes two people to do that. I want to say this too. People always say how somebody shouldn't bring life into the world, but you want to be here. And some of our most successful people come from poor families. If everybody followed the rule not to bring life into the world unless they could financially support it, then we wouldn't have some of our most successful people. That's a fact. We can go down a list and say, yep, this person wouldn't be here, this person wouldn't be here, that person wouldn't be here. Now, I mean, that's a philosophical discussion, but I think for that to just be a blanket rule, like, oh, if you can't afford to have a kid, because what does it mean to be able to afford to have a kid anyway? You can be poor and you can still give a child love, and just like Will Smith is doing that movie about Richard Williams, Serena Williams' dad, and Venus Williams' dad. He wasn't bringing his children into, and that's a blended family also, but he wasn't bringing those kids into financial, I guess, they weren't balling, but they became Venus and Serena. So a lot of people bringing their kids into middle class lifestyles who are not they ain't gonna be Venus and Serena. That's for damn sure. They ain't gonna be that. I'm just saying. You know, people a lot of times will be like, well, if you're broke, then you shouldn't, that's what it is. She says, I guess I'm too loyal. And that's well, come on now. I guess I'm too loyal and that's to my detriment. Staying around with somebody, if you break up with somebody, it's not a matter of loyalty anymore. That's not realistic. That's untrue. That's just, hey, this is me trying to emotionally blackmail somebody into doing what I want them to do. If you break up with somebody, they don't owe you anything. It's not, if you're yourself, if you stick around with somebody after they broke up with you and you don't try to move on, that's not loyalty. That's codependency. It's not loyalty. They broke up with your ass. It's a wrap. You need to keep it moving. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Jessica? See you coming through to the chat. Okay, this one is, I never asked to be born though. Why impose life on another like that and bring them up in such terrible circumstances? Don't believe in doing that. Most people have kids for ego reasons. Anyhow, it's wrong. Yeah, well, if your life, I'm going to be real with you, and this ain't just for you. If your life isn't the greatest gift that you've ever received, it's because you're not doing anything with it. That's not just for you, that's for anybody. If your life is not people always say that bull crap. I didn't ask to be here. I didn't ask to be here either. But I am so thankful that my parents brought me here. And they didn't have anything when they brought me here. I grew up middle class in the suburbs. When I was born into poverty in the projects. Now, I didn't live in the projects for any amount of time to be able to say, I don't have no started from the bottom story. You know, I've gone through rough times in my life after that, but I didn't grow up in poverty. I grew up in the suburbs. My pops was making good money in the 80s, bro. I didn't come from that. But when I was born into poverty. And my father was born into abject poverty. My pops used to pick cotton in Alabama. Abject poverty. So when people say this crap about, I didn't ask to be here, and why would you subject somebody to that? You were born in America for most of y'all. First of all, you were born in America. So it really ain't that bad. The floor is pretty high in America, bro. Like, it ain't that bad, bro. So, but also, you have a chance. What did my man Jay Prince say? Every day you wake up with a chance and a choice. You know, it's what you do with that matters. People all, didn't ask to be here. What are you doing to make your life the greatest gift you ever got? Because it is. For people to be like this about life, why would you impose life on somebody? What? Impose? Life is a blessing. Impose? Your life is the greatest gift you ever got. If you don't see it that way, it's because you're not doing what you should be doing with it. You're here. You have the mental capacity to type on a computer screen and articulate your feelings and thoughts, which means that you're ahead of a lot of other people right there. You could be doing whatever you wanted to with your life, no matter where you ended up. If you started out poor or whatever, that means nothing. First of all, you were born in a place that has internet. So you weren't really born poor. I mean, you might think if you were born in America, look, if you were born in the United States of America, go to a third world country. If you're going to sit here and say you're poor, go to a third world country. And when you come back from that third world country, shut up. You were not born poor if you live in America. You were not. You cannot be poor in America. I couldn't get the newest shoes. Oh, we was on free lunch. How about you live underneath somebody else's hut? Try that. You ain't living like that in America. Okay, let's go into some of these other questions. What's up, Violet? Modena says, just because a man has millions of dollars doesn't make him a good person. I look at how much time he spends with his children. And if he takes care of them, money won't make him care. I didn't say money makes you a good person or a bad person. And how much time somebody spends with their children doesn't make them a good person or a bad person. There's a whole, well, maybe to you. So, yeah, I mean, that's your personal opinion. There's a million reasons why people do what they do. Look, whenever we decide whether somebody's a good person or a bad person, usually it's based on stuff that we don't have to personally deal with. Like, oh, well, I go by whether they spend time with their kids. Okay, well, do your kids live in the house with you? Probably. Do you have kids? Maybe not. So, I mean, yeah, it's easy to make that judgment because that judgment doesn't call you into question. But the other person can say, well, I judge whether a woman is a good woman based on what her exes say about her. I judge whether a woman is a good woman based on whether or not she has kids and doesn't have a father for those kids, or whether she's been divorced before, or how many relationships she's gone through, or what her body count is. Now people go, oh, well, that's misogyny, or oh, that's wrong. You know, you can say you judge, you decide whether or not somebody's compatible with you or whether you want to deal with somebody. And you can even say whether or not you think somebody's a good person based on certain things. But the reality is, you got to accept that when it comes back at you. You can't sit here and go, oh, well, you're wrong to feel that way. You're wrong to feel that just because me and my dude broke up, I'm a bad person. Well, I mean, you don't know the ins and outs of their situation. Just saying. We don't know the ins and outs of a person's situation. We can say whatever. Chazz, what are your life mistakes you have learned from which make you so successful today? I'm going to tell you something that I learned as far as life mistakes. I don't know how y'all take this or whatever, but it may help some people. I have never made a mistake in my life, and I don't believe anybody has. I mean, yeah, maybe I stepped on somebody's shoes, but I'm talking about a life mistake. You made choices based on the information that you had in front of you at the time. And two people can do the same exact thing side by side and have completely different results. Some of the things you beat yourself up about and say, this is why I am where I am today, are some of the things that someone else did and it worked out for them. So the biggest thing for me to help me get in a better position in my life is I've just really stopped judging myself. For me, because it ain't about what you have. It's about how you feel about yourself. When I was sleeping in my car and I started getting to the point where I started feeling good, I felt just as good about myself in my car as I felt about myself in my house now. Like some people would say, hey, you got a nice place, you got, this and that and the other. But for me personally, once I started feeling like, hey, I'm a winner and I'm a good person, and my financial situation or what you may see from the outside doesn't dictate who I am or what you might think of my decisions or what you might think of things that happen to me or that I do in my life, doesn't dictate who I see myself as. Once I did that, I just started feeling better. And once you start feeling better, you'd be surprised how things just start falling into place. You'd be surprised, man. A lot of times you just feel better about yourself. A lot of things that you thought were impossible start happening for you. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, the U.S. has one of the greatest support systems for people who who are financially struggling. Like you really be surprised at what the U.S. has if you just haven't been in that situation. Yeah, I get what she said. Don't bring kids into the world if you can't give them a better life than the one you. But you don't know whether you be able to give kids a better life than the one you were given. You have more knowledge most likely than your parents did. So just because you don't have finances, I'm just gonna be real, child. There's nothing y'all can do to convince me that life is not the greatest thing that you ever got. Because if you take the line of even my life, and it's not even just a personal thing, we can just keep going down the line. We can point out celebrities, rich people, people who have made a huge impact on the world, and we can say if somebody who was poor didn't have a kid, that person would not exist. When y'all think about some of this stuff, y'all don't think about that. Because if some of y'all make a blanket rule, oh well, if you can't afford to have a kid, you shouldn't have one. So we shouldn't have Oprah. Maybe you don't like her, but I'm sure people who have gotten a car from her do. And if you got a car, your ass will like her too. Now you're front. We shouldn't have Jay-Z. We shouldn't have people like Mark Cuban even. We can just go we can go on and on and on. We wouldn't have somebody like John D. Rockefeller. We could just keep going on and on and on and on. We wouldn't have somebody like Barack Obama. I mean, you could just look at it like, oh, well, look at what his father was doing. He shouldn't have had a kid. Kid becomes Barack Obama. Win. Sure, Barack is happy to be here. Sure, Barack is like, nah, my pop should have had me. I don't know, maybe y'all, but he should have had me. So we can just keep going on and on and on. Finances are not everything, first of all. It's just life. Life is valuable. Y'all got to start seeing it that way. I'm telling you. Life is valuable because as long as you can wake up in the morning, you have a chance, bro. As long as you can wake up, you have a chance. You have an opportunity. You can turn it around at any time. Yeah, I'm not trying to change your mind. Yeah, for me, I don't try to change anybody's mind on this. Y'all have a right to your own opinions. And if you argue for your limitations, you also get to keep them. So I can't drag nobody to a win. My daddy used to always say, you have to be an active participant in your own rescue. If my dad never would have made a penny, he also had that to give to me. It was his knowledge. That's the most valuable thing he ever gave me. Because my dad, he didn't grow up with any money, but his family gave him a lot of knowledge and a lot of information that he was able to pass on. So, and he was able to accomplish a lot. So, I think you can do anything with your life. Starting from pretty much anywhere. People do it every day. All right, we're gonna talk about this cuffing season thing. Let's hit me with some more stickers and super chats, and I'm gonna go into cuffing season. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot this poll. My bad. This will go along with some of the stuff we've been talking about. How many bodies are too many? 10 or more. Or more than 10, I'm sorry. More than 10. More than 20. Or the more the merrier. All right, so we're gonna let's put that poll up. The how many bodies are too many? More than 10, more than 20, or the more the merrier? So we got that poll. All right, well, we're gonna go into some of the cuffing season stuff. Hey, let's get up to 40 and then I'll go into cuffing season. Now, for some of y'all who don't know what cuffing season is, depending on where you live, it's from about September to May. Obviously, if you live in a hotter climate, then the cuffing season is gonna be a little shorter. If you live in a cooler climate, a little longer. So, but most of the time it's from around September to May. September is usually like what I call soft cuffing season, where people like, yo, it's still warm enough outside in most places for me to kind of go out and enjoy hot girl, hot boy summer or whatever. But as that starts to go get a little colder, people start being like, nah, I need to go ahead and get me a boo. And plus the holidays. You got to remember, like, the holidays are when people really are thinking, I'm not trying to, what's up, Aurora? What's up? A lot of people are like, I'm not trying to be single during the holidays. Because I'm not going to lie to you. And a lot of people go, oh man, you shouldn't be trying to get somebody during cuffing season. That's lame and codependent. Bruh, I'm not going to lie to you. When you have somebody during the holidays, it's a lot easier for you to feel better about the holiday season. When you have somebody when it's cold outside and you're stuck in the house, it's a lot easier for you to feel better about it being cold outside. Let's just keep it real. That's why people buy puppies. That's why we have more babies born in the wintertime, because they be like, man, I'm about to just try to make sure I got something. So, this cuffing season thing is really big. All right, let's see. Let's get it up to 40 at least, and then we'll talk about cuffing season. Come on. Oh, yes. If you have missed any of the live streams, make sure you sign up with your man's Chazz Ellis on Patreon. Click the link in the chat box. Sign up with me on Patreon. Also, if you are coming into the chat, make sure you hit the like button too. But if you've missed any of the lives, you can get them on Patreon. So make sure you click the link. Also, there are plenty of deals on Patreon, and I also have premium content. So make sure you check that out too. I'm glad you said that. Could there, in love, you said, could there be any other choice? Does it really matter? Well, if it doesn't really matter, then the more the merrier should apply. Because if you said it doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter if they got 100 bodies, right? The more the merrier. If it doesn't matter, doesn't matter if it's 150. Or if it doesn't matter if it hit a number that you're more comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? So it either matters or it doesn't. We're going to go into that. That's a good question. We'll talk about that. Is it true that high body count or promiscuity have effects on men and women mentally? It can, sure. It could definitely have an effect on a man or a woman mentally. And sometimes it is a product of where you are mentally. Everybody is different. All right. Some people gonna collect 50 bodies by the time they're 19 years old. Men and women will collect 50 bodies by the time they're 19 years old. And that may be something that causes them to never be able to really date and take a relationship seriously again. And that might be something that causes them to feel like they got a lot of stuff out of their system, and they might end up being the best girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, or husband in the world. Everybody is going to be different in the way they process things and their reasoning for why they do things. Thanks, Jessica. Everybody's going to be different in the way they process things and why they do things. So how it affects somebody mentally, people are going to try to make it seem like it's across the board. Oh, they got soul ties and oh, they got this. I mean, that's a bunch of stuff you can't really necessarily prove. Everybody's going to be different in the way that they process things and in the way they look at sex. Because people look at sex differently. Some people, you just got to understand, like if you're with somebody who has slept with 150 people, they're not going to be able to turn around and say, everybody I sleep with, I have an emotional connection to. Because there's no way they have an emotional connection to 150 people. Now that's, come on. So it's going to be one of those things. So it's all based on it's based on each person. Okay, let's see. We're going to go, I'm going to get your question real quick, Jessica, and then I'm going to go into some of the other things. A guy canceled a date with me last minute. I was upset, but went out to a bar by myself. A man introduced himself to me, and now we've gone on 2 dates. That's dope. Man, that's what, see, lemons, lemonade. You know what I'm saying? Somebody cancel on you, you can sit at the crib, cry about it. Oh, why me? Or you could go out, have a good time, do you, and it might turn out to be something like you go on some dates with somebody you like. Now, it may not turn out like that, but hell, you only get a chance if you actually make the effort. A coach once told me, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I like to hear good stories like that. That's dope, Jessica. Okay, let's everybody who's gonna vote, go ahead and hit your vote real quick, and I'll give you the results of the online vote. Well, y'all finish up voting, and then I'll do that. All right, anybody else who's gonna vote, make sure you hit your vote real quick. All right. Okay. What we are is 10 or more is 47% say nah. 20 plus, that was 29%. And the more the merrier was 24%. So that's basically, the more the merrier is pretty much, I either don't care or, hey, have as many bodies as you want to. The online poll was pretty much the same. It's floating now around, it's pretty much the same as the online poll. The online poll was, or the community poll was 43% said 10 or more, said more than 10. 30% said more than 20. And the more the merrier was 26%. I guess some of y'all came in with y'all last votes, and it's still pretty close, still about the same. This is the thing. With me, the way I look at body counts is, and somebody said this, people generally are not going to tell the truth anyway. People are going to lie a lot of times. Some people are going to lie up, some people are going to lie down. For me, I really just go by how you act. I'm going to be real with you. I go by how you act. I probably wouldn't even ask you about your body count. Not because I don't care, but because the truth is, let's be real. If it's worth lying about, you probably gonna lie. And I don't know how far you lie. People say, oh, multiply by 3. You don't know that. Some people is multiply by 100. I'm going to go by how you carry yourself. I'm going to go by how our relationship is, how connected you seem to me, and what's coming out about you. You know, if people coming out every 5 minutes talking about, oh, me and this person used to smash, then I'll probably be like, okay, well, dang, she might not be for me. She belongs to the streets. No, man, she might not be for me. But as long as you carry yourself well and, you know, you seem like you're interested in our relationship, I can't really say because I would never know. But now if I found out that you had 30 bodies or something like that, would I be a little upset? Maybe. I don't want to be fake. So maybe. I probably would be. But I don't know. It really depends on just, do I know the people? I mean, I'm being real. You know, that wasn't in the poll, obviously. But if I know, do I know the people that you was smashing? Because if I know the people, if you got 20 bodies, I don't know any of them. That would be a lot better for me than if you had 2 bodies and I know both of them. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, man, I know the people, bro. I can't. So it really, for me, it depends. It depends on the situation, who you are, how you carry yourself, and things of that nature. Because it's easy to really make a blanket judgment. And hey, you got to draw a line somewhere. So for some of y'all that said 10 plus, 20 plus, or whatever number you said, you got to draw a line somewhere. So I totally get that. You know, and I if I knew about it, I would probably draw a line somewhere too. But yeah. And it depends. Like if I find out you got 20 bodies, I'm gonna be real. If I find out you got 20 bodies and you ain't being a freak for me, then I'll probably be more upset. I'm gonna give you just a perspective in that respect. Then I would be more upset. I'm like, dang, you really ain't. You got all these different bodies, but you ain't really seeming like you going all out for me. So I'm trying to figure out how this came about. If you over trying to say, if you got 30, 20, 30, 40 bodies, and you trying to say, I got to wait a year or something like that, then I probably would trip. So for me, it's always that kind of thing. Like what, you have these bodies, but what does that mean? And how do you approach relationships having all those bodies? Let's ask some questions. Or let's look at some of the things you guys said. This person said, I'm single like a Pringle. No cuffing for me. I'm too selective. I'm bench warming because I'm still getting over my ex. Okay. Cuffing has already begun here in NYC. Oh, yeah. Like I said, September to May, depending on where you live. You live in a cold place. So, yep, people aren't usually going to be honest. I agree with that. Violet says, yeah, it matters. Don't want no used up erectile problems, dude. I don't know how you get erectile problems from having multiple partners, because wouldn't you get the same erectile problems from having sex with the same person multiple times? Even if there's a study out there that says that does not make any sense. That sounds like some type of manipulation tactic. I don't buy that. That's like saying that you're going to be loose because you have sex with multiple people. That's not even true. I don't believe that's true. I can see how it would be more likely to be true that you could get loose from having sex with multiple people just because you got different shapes and sizes. I can see that, but I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I don't buy that. Okay, let's see. Okay, somebody said if you're having to lie about it, then you probably shouldn't be doing it 9 times out of 10. Well, yeah. What happened to basic integrity? Sheesh. Well, I guess you can't do anything about what you already did. I mean, everybody will lie about something. So, I mean, you may not lie about your body count, but if the police pull you over and say, how fast were you going? Your ass not going to tell them you were speeding. Now, maybe you will, but I don't believe that. I'd have to see you in the situation. Well, in love, of course, you're not going to ask about the body count. You're a woman. You're less likely to ask about those type of questions. But some people do, but most of the time they don't. Bonnie said, people with a real high body count seem to think having sex is like shaking hands. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you call a high body count. Some people will say 5's a high body count. That's my thing about body counts too. When people say high, it's all relative, and it's usually relative to whatever your body count is. That's most people are gonna say, like, people who pick these numbers, they pick the numbers based on their own body counts and how far away it was from their body count. For the most part, that's the thing about when we judge things as being good or bad. I might go live on Zoom or something like that for more verbal interaction. I don't know. Maybe. She says, Jessica says, after I was 30 years old, men stopped asking me my body count. Well, usually by the time you get 30 as a man, you realize that women are going to lie about that anyway, so it doesn't even matter. And plus, you can figure out a woman's body count by just being around her enough time. You know, you can figure out how many people somebody slept with by just interactions that you have with them. It may not be an exact number, but you can say, hey, this number is high or this number is kind of low based on a lot of their past relationships. Or you're going to infer anyway. Okay, we're going to go into cuffing season a little bit, and then I'll get back to questions. All right, cuffing season. As we talked about, from September to May, depending on where you live, could be a little longer, could be a little shorter. The thing about going into cuffing season is the thing you got to realize, first of all, is if you're starting in November, you're starting a bit late. That doesn't mean you can't get in, but that means that you're a little bit behind the 8 ball. The thing about cuffing season is this is the best time, or I guess I should say the easiest time, to get into an actual relationship. This is when most people are in one place. So a lot of people are not on vacation. A lot of people are not just out and about all the time. So if you meet somebody at the gym, get their number, it's more likely for them to call you. If you meet somebody at a bar or something like that, it's more likely for them to call and y'all to be able to interact and go out on a date and then start making connections. This is more likely to happen during cuffing season because obviously we know during the summertime it's hot girl summer, hot boy summer. Even if you're not participating, there's just too many people participating. The numbers are low because there's just too many people participating. people who want to be in relationships are often chasing people who are doing hot girl summer or hot boy summer or whatever the hell. So it's kind of rough. And sometimes, let's be real, you might be enjoying the summertime and not even want to try to get into a relationship. But when cuffing season comes along and you get into it late, that means you got to move fast. You got to move fast. All right? Now, so that means when you see cuffing season around the corner, you got to, first of all, if you're starting in November, so I'm going to assume you're starting from today. You need to, first of all, make sure you got your dating profiles up, because dating profiles are very important during cuffing season in 2021. Now, maybe if this was 1995, you didn't need to be on the internet. But it's 2021 and that's all we can work from. All right, we can't go back in time. So you need to have your dating profiles up. If you got good pictures during the summer, you need to put them pictures out. You need to put them pictures out. This is also a time where you're going to probably get a lot of hey big head texts. A lot of what you doing, long time no see. These are people that you really need to ignore most of the time during cuffing season. This is what people you really need to try to ignore during cuffing season, because they will waste your cuffing season. Cuffing season is a time where you can really build a long-term relationship. And dealing with somebody that you've already been messing with, that's played you off in the past, a lot of times that is a good way to waste your cuffing season. They're going to hit you up and be like, okay, well, I've been doing my thing all summer long. Summer's over. Might as well start talking to your ass again. And then they waste your time. That's something to watch out for during cuffing season, is people from the past. They love to waste your time during cuffing season because now they can't go anywhere anymore. The summer's over. They sitting around. They need somebody to bring to Thanksgiving. They need somebody to bring to the Christmas party. They need somebody to bring to, they need somebody for Valentine's Day and New Year's. So now they looking around like, okay, you'll do. So if it's somebody like that you've known from the past that was playing you off before, I would ignore those texts and try to move on with somebody new. That's what cuffing season is for. It's an opportunity to meet up and date with new people. So make sure your profiles are up. Make sure you join some clubs, some groups on Facebook. You're in communities. Make sure you're talking to your friends and making good connections with those people, so that when cuffing season is going on, you have a good opportunity to get a large group of people that you can try to talk to. When you do that, you got to make sure that when you find somebody that you really do like and you really enjoy being around, that you pull the trigger kind of quick. I'm not saying get married to the person. I'm not saying sleep with them on the first date. But I'm saying you give it a chance. Don't be ho-humming and playing around during cuffing season. Because there's going to be a lot of people out there looking for a relationship. So if you find somebody that you like, you're really interested in, start kind of move forward on that and see if you can try to turn that into something going into the summertime. Because once the summer come along, you might find somebody, but it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Everybody hot boy summer, hot girl summer, you know what I mean? So make sure that you're thinking about that. Definitely start joining clubs. Start joining groups that are about your interest. That's a really good move to do during cuffing season. Because that's going to give you an opportunity to be around people who are not out as much anymore. Now you can't just go to Miami. Now you can't just go to the beach somewhere and do your thing. You can't really go around like you want to. You can, but everybody's not going to be out like that. It's just the way it is. Everybody's not going to be out like that. So you're going to have to really try to find places where you can meet people that are places according to your interest, where you can really get dates going, really get relationships going, really start talking to somebody that you're interested in. So don't waste your cuffing season with exes. Make sure you pull the trigger quick. Make sure you also have your clubs that you're joining, and you also have your relationship stuff going. Just said the cuffing season is over after Valentine's Day. It's over for women after Valentine's Day a lot of times. But see, that's where y'all mess up. A lot of y'all quit on cuffing season after Valentine's Day, and that's why you go to the next Valentine's Day with nobody. Because see, after Valentine's Day, a lot of times, since you still have so much cold left, and you still have so much time where people are not going to be vacationing and traveling, you really have a good opportunity to date. But a lot of y'all just quit. This is something I've noticed about a lot of women too. You'll quit right after Valentine's Day. So if you know you're going to quit after Valentine's Day, then you need to be full court pressing right now. You really need to be full court pressing in September, but you need to be full court pressing right now. Because sometimes all you really want is a good Valentine's Day trip. That's what. Sometimes you just want a good Valentine's Day trip. Sometimes you just want to have a good Christmas. Let's keep it a buck. Sometimes you just want to have a good Christmas. But it depends on what you're doing. If you're trying to do it for just a Valentine's Day, or are you doing it for life? So, depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Lyle, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while. I guess I hadn't been on here in a while. No, that's not true. I have a better sample size than you do, Vonnie. I've been doing this for about 10 years. I got thousands of people that I talk to. You got you and your friends. I'm just saying. Women generally are more likely to quit on it because men don't care a damn thing about Valentine's Day. I've never met a man in my life who cared about Valentine's Day. I've never talked to a man. I've never worked with a man in my life who cared about Valentine's Day. That's not what men care about. Women are usually quit after Valentine's Day because they'll be like, well, that's the last opportunity that now I didn't get somebody during the new year. I didn't get somebody on Valentine's Day. I didn't get somebody, because those holidays a lot of times are opportunities that women are looking for. Like, I don't want to be alone on these days. So that's where a lot of women will give up right after that. Okay, let me see what you got. Let me get in here on y'all. Okay, so what type of clubs do good men be at? I was talking about clubs as in interest clubs. Like if you want to join a tennis club, a golf club, a young business owners club, a place where you're going to get more people, or religious clubs, things like that. A place where you're going to get people with the same interest. Okay, so Tandrilla said depends on your definition of good man. That's true. A man who won't lie and cheat. Hey, that's hard to find. Anybody might lie and cheat. People lie. So you gotta find somebody with a baseline of good things that you can see externally. Do they have a good job? Do they have, are they attractive to me? Or are they somebody who I can talk to? Am I going to have a good time with this person, even if they do happen to lie or cheat? Because you can't know that. You can't know that, but you can know whether or not you want to be with the person, and you can at least enjoy the time you have with them. So that's somebody you want to find that has the same interest. I'm not trying to get another man while I'm heartbroken. Well, hey, that's up to you. I can respect that. A lot of times cuffing season is dudes that be homeless. And they be scheming on meat plans, people taxes, tax refunds. Sure. I don't know about a lot of times. It depends on what your financial status is or the type of socioeconomic situation you're in, But that's certainly true that there are people who are doing that. That's why whenever you're dealing with people, that's why I say meet people at clubs, social gatherings, not necessarily party clubs, but like social gatherings, things where you guys have similar interests, because you're less likely to meet somebody. For instance, if you're at like a young entrepreneurs meeting, you're less likely to meet somebody who's looking for a place to stay. If you're at a yacht club, you're almost 100% you're not going to meet somebody who's looking for a place to stay. So you gotta pick the right spots to meet people. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with people who are, because there's a lot of women out here scheming for a place to stay. Let's keep it real. There's a lot of women out here scheming for a gift, scheming for a place to stay. You only date men, so therefore you only see the male schemes. If you date women, or you work with women, you work with men, I work with both. So I get to talk to so many people. Everybody be on the same stuff. That's the reality. Everybody be on the same stuff. It just depends on who you deal with or who you see the most of. The best way to avoid that is to make sure you're dealing with people who have the things that you would get used for. So you're dealing with somebody who has no crib, and you can't get mad if they're using you for a place to stay. They don't have a place. Have you ever been to their house? People always say like, they were using me. He's a hobosexual. That means a dude that sleeps with women for a place to stay. He's a hobosexual. Well, you smashing a dude with no place to stay, that's on you. And I've been a dude with no place to stay before. Hey, you got to accept it. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, I'm gonna do questions. Let's hit me with the super chats, and I'm gonna do questions. I'm gonna be on here for about 15 more minutes, and I'm gonna be doing questions. Jessica said she met a guy that she was talking about at an upscale martini bar. Well, yeah, socioeconomic. You know what I mean? If you meet somebody at a place that's nice, that costs money, it's not likely that they're going to be broke up in there. Thank you, Vonnie. All right, so don't wait till the last minute, y'all. I'm only going to be on here for like 15 minutes. So if you got questions, hit me with those. And once again, if you have missed any of the live streams, make sure you sign up with me on Patreon. Also, if you got a question, just ask it in the chat box. Also, if you have, what I need to do, I'm gonna do a sale for one of the masterclass. I'm gonna use because it's cuffing season right now. I'm gonna do how to get them to chase you. Give them 50% off on how to get them to chase you. How long is too long for a man to respond to a text? I'm going out with this guy and he takes forever to respond. Um, I I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the person's schedule is looking like. I would say, most of the time, if you can find time within the day to respond to somebody, even if you have a really hectic schedule, you can find time in a day. And yeah, I don't think you should go over that. But as far as like if somebody take a couple hours to respond to you, I don't think you really can get mad about that. If somebody take 2 or 3 hours to respond, 4 or 5 hours. Some people actually have hectic jobs. Some people are not in a position where their phone is right on them. There used to be a time when you could only call people when they're at home. I know it sounds crazy. But at the end of the day, that's one of those things where I would say, give yourself some time, or give the person some time before you start getting upset. So if they take a few hours, 3, 4 hours or whatever, I think anybody can pretty much answer within the day. For the most part, it should be consistently the next day. But other than that, I mean, people have hectic schedules, so I think you just gotta chill. And especially if y'all just met each other, then you just give them the same energy they're giving you. If it takes them days to respond to you, then you might take days to respond back. How do you get multiple guys to pay your bills? I hear women doing it all the time, regardless of looks. Yeah. Sure. Man, I did a video one time about being a gold digger. And I'm not saying this is a disrespectful term to you or anything like that. Because I don't have a problem with that. People are like, oh, you shouldn't be using people for money. If they want to pay your bills, why wouldn't you take the money? I don't know. But so with that being said, the best way to get multiple guys to pay your money, to pay your bills, is first of all, you gotta stop caring about looks. That's number one. You can't be over here like, oh man, he gotta be a 10 and he gotta be willing to pay my bills. That's why you see women being able to do that regardless of looks. Because if you just are focused on looks and that's what you care the most about, then it's not gonna happen. Because you're trying to get guys that have a bunch of options of girls who probably would pay their bills to pay yours. It's not to say you can't get one guy maybe to do it, but multiple? Unlikely. So if you want to get multiple guys to pay your bills, the first thing you need to do is widen the pool. The thing you need to be looking for is money. You got to look for guys who have the ability to pay your bills. Now here's a trick though. Don't look for guys who are rich. Look for guys who are in the lower middle. Rich people will pay your bills sometimes, but they usually want a certain level of control. Guys who are in the lower middle, a lot of times they are the biggest, for like, simps. I'm just be real with you. A lot of times they'll give you their whole check. Whereas a rich guy be like, I'll give you some crumbs and this is how much you got to crawl for it. So that's just what it means. So if you want to get with a person, first of all, you got to widen the pool. You got to aim for that lower middle, because then you can piece together all of the different things they can do for you. And instead of just asking a person like, don't come out and ask somebody to pay your bills. Show a level of independence and a level of all the things you can do. For instance, if you go to a guy like, yo, I need my bills paid, it makes you look broke. But if you get with a dude and you're like, oh, I'm buying myself this, and this is the lifestyle I'm used to, and this is how I'm living, then a lot of times the person will want to show you that they're on that same level and that they can do for you. So they'll give you money to prove that, they could be with a woman that's high maintenance. But you got to show that you can provide for yourself. You know, and not only just provide for yourself, but provide at a high level. Even if you ain't really got it like that. This is why, the fake it till you make it thing. Sometimes you got to buy you a nice little bag and stunt. Sometimes you got to buy you some nice little shoes. It's an investment. It's like people crack on rappers all the time for buying chains and stuff like that. But what you don't realize is some of these rappers, first of all, they write that off on their taxes. Oh, that's a good question. Lower middle is like, 40, 50K a year. That's like right in the middle. In real life, that's like right in the middle. So like you can really do anywhere from 30 to 50K. You'd be surprised. Somebody that make 30K a year will often spend more money on you than somebody who makes 100. So, you just gotta look at it from that perspective. So there's like, get you somebody that's in the middle, lower middle. Get you somebody, because 50K a year is really like right in the middle in real life. Only 10% of the people in the world, in the country, make 100 grand or above. So that's the middle. So you got to think like, if you can get anywhere from like 30 to 50 or so, that's going to be your sweet spot. A lot of times those are going to be the people who are the most financially irresponsible. Those are going to be the people who are trying to overcompensate the most. I'm just being real with y'all. This is not moral advice. I'm not here to, that's between you, your pastor, your mommy, your daddy, whoever the hell. I'm just giving you the real how it go. So you want to get somebody from like that 30 to about 50, maybe 60K. That's what you want to get. That's that sweet spot. Because those are the people that are going to be the most fiscally irresponsible. Those are going to be the people who are most wanting to prove something. And they're more likely to get, and they don't have as many options a lot of times. But it can't be about looks. Everybody you deal with, you pretty much have to make sure that you give them something in return. Not sex necessarily, but you got to make them feel good. You got to make the person feel like a hero for what they're doing, not some "I don't need you" type of stuff. You got to make the person feel like, hey, this is what a man's supposed to do. A lot of times you can really play on that. So I hope that helped you out. But yeah, just to give you a concise thing, get you somebody in the lower middle. Show them that you can do it for yourself. Show us a certain level of appreciation. Oh, also, don't keep going to the same person and asking them for stuff. You know what I'm saying? Don't keep going to just the same person and asking them for stuff. And you also got to be willing to cut people off who don't give the money. So if a dude's don't keep breaking bread with you, you can't be like, oh, well, he's cute, so I'm going to keep talking to him. If a man not breaking bread, you got to be like, you got to cut him off. There you go. Let's get in some of these things that people had to say. I know it's people like, oh, I don't want anyone to pay my bills. Stop it. COVID brought out the worst in many of us. Man, that ain't COVID. People been trying to get their bills paid since the beginning of time. And I don't blame you. If you can get somebody else to pay your bills, why would you want to pay your own bills? Well, just because a guy wants something, and she said the thing that's wrong with a guy paying your bills, what he's going to want in return. If a guy is not paying your bills, he's still going to want you to let him smash. So, as my dad used to say, you can want in this hand and crap in this one. See which one fills up first. A person can want control. That doesn't mean they're going to get it, especially if you have multiple sources. But a lot of times when a person doesn't really have money like that, they don't think to want control. This is what you got to understand. Y'all, I do this for a living. I work with guys also. Most of you women only date the guys who are cool. You only date the guys who are not simps. So your experiences with guys are based on the fact that you're dating a guy who was cool. You're dating a guy who probably approached you. You're dating a guy who probably had other options. So yeah, if he gave you some money, he wanted something in return right away. Or he wanted some type of control. He was like, yo, I'll pay that phone bill. Cut that phone off and sit your ass down. But if you pick somebody who didn't have that level of confidence, if you pick somebody who was more of a simp, like I was telling you before, you pick somebody who's got something to prove, then they're not going to ask for all the things that somebody else would ask for. I talk to dudes all the time that spend, I'm talking about, you wouldn't even believe the numbers. I'm talking to dudes that spend $100,000 on a chick. This is them telling me. They ain't got no reason to lie to me. Spend 100, and I know they got it. You know, and some of them don't have it. Shit, some of them go into debt spending $100,000 on a chick. I mean, y'all be seeing that Love After Lockup and all of that, where these 90-day fiance, where guys are going into debt over a girl who doesn't give them anything. How do you think that happens? Hey, if they simp enough to do it, I don't feel sorry for them. Just like I wouldn't feel sorry for you if you told me, oh, I was dating a guy and he had me paying all his bills. You wanted to do it. Now maybe you wanted something in return that you never got, but you should have just said, yo, give me the D and I'll give you a certain amount of money. I don't feel sorry for a dude that's paying your bills and you're not giving him anything in return. Because what he's really trying to do is buy some, you know what, but he ain't just coming out and saying it. So that's on him. I feel no sympathy. Yeah, and there's a lot of women who do exaggerate and lie about what they're getting from men. That's for sure. Just like men lie about how many women they're sleeping with. Absolutely. You can't always believe everybody. But there are a lot of women out here getting paid that are getting men to take care of them. And there's some women that don't look the way you would think. Those are facts. Okay, what else? What other questions do we got? I'm about out of here. So what do we got? 90-day fiance. Simping ain't easy. Yeah, simping is harder than pimping, I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, anybody can be dangerous. I see what you did there, Elijah. She said no simping. All right, we got any other questions? If you already asked one up higher, I missed it. Oh man, this is a funny. Wade said if she's not a virgin like Barry, she belonged to Chad and Tyrone. Oh. You know, hey, that's your right to feel that way too. You know, that's your right to feel that way. Thoughts on the baby and Danny Lee situation? Look, I'm not I'm somewhat familiar with it. If you're talking about him kicking her out the crib, I saw the whole video, so I can say that. I might have a different take than some of y'all would, but if somebody tell you to leave their house, just accept it. If the man saying we're not together, you gotta accept it. The baby kicks old girl, what's her name, Danny Lee, out of his house. She's talking about, my kid only has 4 outfits. Now, I didn't know who she was, so I looked her up and I looked up her net worth. It said she was worth $2 million and she had bought him a Lamborghini. If your kid only has 2 outfits, that's your fault. I would say more than his. Because you got $2 million and you're complaining about it. So, for me, I look at it from that perspective, like, hey, if somebody tell you to get out the house, why stay and catch a charge? You know what I'm saying? Like, why catch a charge? I don't understand. I'm not about to catch a charge. You tell me to leave, I'm like, okay, don't ever call me again. You know, if we got a kid together or whatever, that's cool. But, you know, I got enough bread to where we don't have to have these kind of interactions. That's what I would have felt about it. I'm not about to stick around and let nobody just tell me to get out and tell me basically they don't want to mess with me. Okay, cool. That's what I was talking about when I say, you know, having self-esteem and options. It's not a loyalty thing or whether or not you just keep it moving. I'm not going to just sit there and be like, oh, well, you told me you don't want me, so I'm going to be over here crying about it and hanging around. You told me you don't want me. She could have made a song about him. Got paid. She probably going to do that anyway, but why catch the charge first? Chazz, my question is, what about those of us who are very chronically ill / disabled? Do we have a cold chance in hell of finding anyone good that we want? Well, it depends on what you mean by good and that we want. I mean, look, if good is going to be things that are superficial, then, you know, you probably going to struggle no matter who you are. But if good means a person of character that you agree with and connect to, if good means a person that's going to care about you, love you, and put time and energy into you, then yeah, I think you can find somebody like that. I don't think it's really that hard. I think what people do a lot of times is you look at your situation and you're like, well, why would somebody want to date me, or this is going to be difficult. But a lot of times I think if you make that emotional connection with people and you really just get with somebody based on, and this for anybody, if you really just get with somebody based on the real connection and not the superficial, then it's going to be a lot easier. If you're worried about the superficial, then you're going to be in the same boat as everybody else. So if you like, how much money do they got? What they look like? What's their status? How cool are they? If that's what you care about, then you're going to be in the same boat as all the rest of us. It's going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be an uphill battle. You know, but if you care about love and connection and honesty, it'll be a lot easier. And also just how you feel about you. What do you feel you bring to the table? What do you feel you are as a person? You know, your disability, you're not your disability. You're not your sickness. You know, and just for people who don't know this about me, some of y'all already do, but I was a sick child. I spent the first 10 years of my life in and out of the hospital. basically I had asthmatic bronchitis, and then I caught this lung infection when I was a baby. It just messed up my childhood to a certain degree. It kind of sucked. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I remember I used to be in a tent, like like in the hospital, you be in them tents. For people who have breathing problems, you probably know what that is. But hey, I didn't know that I was ever even gonna come out of that. Real shit. I didn't even know I was ever gonna come out of that. I thought that was gonna be my life, actually, just like forever. But I got into reading a lot of books. I just started working on just things that I like to do and things that I wanted to be. Because I was like, hey, and I mean, I had a good support system with my parents and stuff, but I was like, I'm not gonna let that just stop me from being a human and having a good life. And things ended up coming together for me where I was able to do really well as far as my fitness and stuff was concerned. But I didn't know that was gonna happen. And I think if you're sick and you're going through it, I'm not trying to compare my situation to yours and say, oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps or nothing like that. But I'm just saying, whatever your situation is, a lot of it, I know it's cliche, but it is what you make out of it. And just like you'd be surprised how many people want to be with somebody who may have the same issues. You may think, me being disabled or sick is a hindrance or something that's a negative. But then there's some people that's like, man, I want somebody that I can be with who I feel like this is a brave person that they're getting past this. I admire this person because of this. I feel like this person is somebody who has a vulnerability that I can connect with. Maybe they have a situation where they've been through some of the same stuff you have. That could be something you could connect on. I wouldn't necessarily look at it as a negative. Yeah, I mean, if you're a person that you gotta say, okay, if I need somebody to support me because of my sickness or whatever, that's understandable. But then you just gotta say, okay, with my sickness and what I'm going through, how can I be somebody who can give to that person also? It doesn't have to be financially. You don't have to physically get up and do anything all the time. It's just, what can I give in terms of my personality, how I connect with a person, how do I love? You'd be surprised. That's why you see some people on my 600-pound life that got people. Now, some of them obviously there with a place to stay, for a place to stay. I'll give you that. But some people who actually like that. All right, we about out. I stayed a little longer. Anybody got anything before I go? And hey, I'm about to get up out of here, so somebody hit me with a sticker, super chat, give to the chat while I'm on my way out. Show me some love. Sign up with me on Patreon also. The link is in the chat box. You know what I think I'm about to do? I think I'm going to do some of these interactives with like my Patreon people, because I can't really do them with a whole lot of people, because I don't like going back forth with a whole lot of people on verbally, like where they would call in. But I'll probably do it in a small group. All right, so any questions before I get up out of here? Everybody hit the like button on the way out. Make sure you sign up on Patreon. If you want to check out some of the lives that you missed. I have not watched Married at First Sight this season. I'm gonna have to catch up on it. All right, it was nice talking to y'all. I'll probably be back week after next. So have your popcorn ready. We're going to talk about all kind of stuff. Once again, it's your man, Chazz Ellis. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't. Look at people coming in late. Okay, I'll answer a couple of these in the chat box while I'm off here. All right. Peace out.